All right, my friends, so here comes the most kind of labor intensive stage of the beta project, let's call it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, my plan in this is, I've got my citrus now pre-mixed and the foam kind of ready to go with the foam. So I like to, especially with how long the car's been sat, so I'm going to blow the car off best I can. Obviously I'm running quite low psi. I'm at about 900 psi, but I'm getting a full 10 liters a minute, so I'm getting a ton of water onto the car. Now this will blow off, any kind of rocks, twigs, bird poo, kind of things that haven't flown off in the wind or in the rain that's been happening. And then I'm going to go in while the car's wet. I'm going to do citrus. I'm going to over foam it with the foam. Now let that do its business, get the kind of shuts and all that organized, and then rinse it off. But then this time, rather than over foaming with shampoo, I'm going to go back in with the foam, and this is just going to add me that extra kind of a little bit more bite during the contact wash stage, because I want to make sure that everything, all the oils, if there is any protection, we should, well, it's got no protection on the car, but still we're going to do it and try and get through the steps of the kind of process. As I said, it's all these 5–10% that you get to 100% of the car. So regardless of whether it's protected or not, I'm still going to go through my decon step. All right, so I'm working on something obviously fresh here. It's a new development, quite special. More will be revealed in time, but basically in here we've got a 4:1 citrus, so it's a stronger than usual kind of dilution, and that is basically, we're going to start now chasing this mold. Like I've many times mentioned, this has got anti-molding properties, so again we're going to get the root of the problem out, and then we're just going to cover the entire car, and this is going to start working some wonders right before the foam gets laid on top. I'm letting this work in the arches as well. So by the time I finish, the citrus has been what, 30, maybe 60 seconds. So it's already starting to get to work nicely. So this is 150 mils of our foam. Now, as I keep saying to you, we've built a stepped system. Now, if you want it strong, you can have it strong. If you want it medium, weak, whether you want to do it a 2-stage, 1-stage lay, whichever you want, you've got the complete versatility, rather than giving you pH, 12, 13, 14 product. If you dilute it too much to make it gentler, you're going to get runny milk. So, you're not getting the full kind of purpose of that product out. Whereas with this, you can make it an alkaline pH, like really strong. You can make it very gentle if you just want to use the foam on its own. I mean, the foam itself has got 101 different dilution ratios. So it all depends on how you want it, what type of car you have, how strong you want to hit it. Is it decon, is it maintenance? So it's a beautiful system. Citrus and foam together, whichever way you mix it, it's almost like a cocktail. You can have it at least 50 different ways, and obviously the car will react in whichever way that you decide to do it. So 150 mils, I've just notched it up 50 mils stronger. Again, lay over the citrus. That's going to lay there for maybe 5–10 minutes. I'm going to rinse it, reform it again with the foam, and we're going to continue into the contact wash. So I've got around 200, 300 mil of foam. So this will be awesome, obviously, to refoam as well. I'm going to add probably 50, 75 mil more foam, add the water in for the secondary foam stage. So now the beautiful thing about this system is the citrus is on the paint and it's sat there constantly reacting. Now, if we left the citrus in this weather, so ambient temperature is about 24, 25 degrees right now. Because it's a low viscosity liquid, it's quite thin. The ambient temperature would make it dry, obviously, a lot quicker. Now the foam is a lot thicker, it's a lot more viscous. Now that's sticking, as you can see, it's very slowly dragging it down, but it's still sticking on the paint. So that citrus is just constantly fighting all the dirt, the mold, all that type of good stuff. And yeah, we're gonna let it do its thing, rinse it, foam it, go into the contact wash. Now again, I very rarely do this on my car. However, this car in its lifetime is going to get a full correction, so I'm a little bit more, in this case, again, use common sense. And I am a bit more laxy with this. It's got a lot of good cleaners on, and I want to just get the base. I mean, look at that, it's just black stuff falling everywhere. Can you see that? So I want to get it to a good base first. And then, you know, once the car's corrected and it's washed weekly, at this point, we remove certain steps. But on this one, I just want to make sure the car is clean. Whether it's got swirls or scratches later, we'll deal with it. But you can't deal with swirls and scratches. Imagine you're trying to be, oh, my brush is going to overrun on the paint by 1.2 millimeters. So I'm not going to do it. And then you get it inside and you're trying to do a 52 stage paint correction with mold in the seams. So I know which way I'd rather do it. All right, so I didn't want to traumatize you with me rinsing the car twice, foaming the car twice. So I've rinsed it, I've refoamed it again. I actually didn't put any extra foam into the foam cannon. I just added more water. So again, as you can see, it's a slightly thinner consistency. I've got 100 ml of wash in the wash bucket. And I'm just going to wash right over this. This should knock off any, you know, anything else during it. And then hopefully during the wash stage, we can kind of discuss what the plans are at the later stages of this car. So I've got Washpad V2, it's been soaking, so it's nicely absorbent. Even though this car's got no protection, it just helps with that extra slickness on this paint. At least if we can just help without being stupid now. I know it's a decon wash and you can, you know, hit it with a brick type of thing, but there's no point. If you can avoid any sort of damage that you can, just be conscientious. Do a 100% job, but safely enough. Now, the goal with this car, I've been thinking about this. Do I film the clean stages? I'm not yet sure. Obviously, the chemical decon, the mechanical decon. I'm still thinking about it because this is a quick series, and there is few products that I'm in the midst of trialing, if you know what I mean. So I don't want to let the cat out the bag yet, so I may skip the decon stage on video. I will obviously quickly whip around it with a development tar remover. I'll hit it with wheels, obviously follow it up with clay blocks, so at least the surface will be straight in terms of that. Now, in terms of polishing, I'm going to polish certain areas and I'm not going to polish other areas. So probably like the larger, flatter pieces are going to be unpolished because I want to test certain things again. And I just want to see, I'm basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to replicate people on the driveways. So I'm replicating every level of stupidness that people will sometimes go to break a product. So I'm sure some people say, I followed the steps, but they haven't followed every step. So I want to use this car. Again, it's not my car, but it's going to be my car park every day of the week. So I can at least then see, and I'm going to make a a written note, you know, for example, the bonnet is clayed but unpolished, the boot is not clayed, not polished, the rest of the car is up to my spec type of thing. And I'm going to, again, I definitely won't tell you what product we're developing, but it is special. It's really nice. But I want to see, can I break the product like you guys can potentially break it on the driveway? So it'll be a bit of a quick series, if you know what I mean. I want to get this car in and out in about 36 hours because some products will obviously require a cure time and stuff. So maybe 48, you know, 48 hours, get it done. I'm not being disturbed all this week, so I can kind of work in it, skip some steps on video, but you'll probably see, I mean, if you are coming down to the shop, you can ask how the development's kind of getting on. So I'm doing this for two reasons. One, obviously, I want to hook up one of our people. Might as well. She's not here, the car's just sat here, so get it inside, you know, it's kind of a new car detail. Again, there are some areas that the paint's not the best. Obviously, I'm freaking out over this, but for her, she doesn't look at it as deep as I do. She just wants a clean, protected car, so that's exactly what she's going to get. And it's a perfect opportunity, of course, to do some final quality testing and assessments on our up and coming products. It can't harm to put it on more cars, if you know what I mean. So I mean, either way, it's 100%. I'm just doing that kind of final stuff. I've got some mid-range products in the middle of development, so again, that'll be kind of sweet. And I've got two brand new developments which I was planning on launching next month, but now I'm at this stage with the car, with this car specifically, so I thought, why not? I've been blessed with a less than perfect car, so I'm going to use it to my full advantage right before she gets back, because as soon as she's back, obviously I won't have access to it like I have now, and I can kind of tinker with it. So I'm using it to my kind of full advantage. It's actually a cool little car. I drove her back from picking it up because her insurance wasn't sorted out. So it's a 2-litre automatic, it's a diesel. I tell you, I miss having some fuel economy in my life. It's literally doing like 72 to the gallon. I'm doing 72 to a tank. So that's probably the only advantage of this car. I thought, Jesus Christ. And I wanted to drive it back specifically because, not to be rude and stuff, but she probably can't hear the sounds I can hear with the cars and stuff. You know, if there's something rattling or if something's vibrating. So I said, look, I'm going to drive it back on my own. So kind of Kelly dropped me off in one of our cars. And then I drove it back and I had no radio on, no nothing. Just to hear if there was anything, and it wasn't. So I was playing around with the MPG, all sorts. So it's all right, you know, it's a decent starter car in your new English life, if you get my drift. So she will eventually probably work up to, you know, other cars. But for now, I'm treating her like a 17-year-old. She has to rebuild her insurance profile from scratch because unfortunately it doesn't transfer from Ukraine. It says you've been driving 10 years, but obviously our credit brokers and our credit system in the UK, they haven't shared that sort of information of has she had no claims and all that type of stuff. So the next step is I'm going to cut the video here. I'm going to do a little bit more off-camera development stuff on the decon stuff, both the mechanical and the chemical side. I am working on something new, innovative. Don't want to ruin your surprise if you get my drift. So I'm going to do that. The next time you see me, is you will see me inside. The car will be dried and prepped, and then we can talk about the pretty bits, as I call them. We're going to put some protection on. We're going to put some kind of new protection that is paint and glass and trim kind of safe. So you'll see that on the next episode, and this will be only a 3-part episode. I'm not doing it in as much detail as I do with my cars, because again, I want to try and kind of do a quick development on this. Well, not quick development, but just a quick application, and then get it back into the world and start kind of the real world testing. So I hope, again, this has been a little bit informative for you. If I've helped one person, that is amazing. And I will see you all on the next and final episode. Thank you.